Welcome to APsprayarts. Okay, here we go. I'm about to start the biggest spray painting project I've done yet. So wish me luck and let's see what happens. See what I can do with those guys. Here we go. So that was me about a year ago. Buckle up for this one because it's a long video, I'm afraid, but the actual painting took me just over 6 hours, so 15 minutes or 14 minutes, whatever it is not as bad as 6 hours. So my name's Lauren. I go by APsprayarts on everything, and this was my first mural type painting I had to do. I had been spray painting for about a year, and people at the place where I worked said, "Hey, we got these gym doors. You want to try painting them?" So I did. Now, up to this time, I had been doing forest and space scenes, so as you can tell right there, a whole bunch of planets and stuff. And this was a lot easier than a regular mural because it was flat. Doors were laid down in the gym, and I was able to do it. Okay, this part here, I just want to talk quickly about this part. I'm doing it's supposed to be a nebula sort of thing. I still to this day don't like it, but I've seen the doors up where they are in the gym, and you don't notice it that much, so it's not that big of a deal. So sometimes when we make mistakes, we just have to sit back, relax, let the process go, and later on we're not even going to notice the damn things. So a little bit history of where I work. I work at a treatment center for Indigenous youth here in Saskatchewan, where the youth come for 16 weeks, and they do a lot of cultural training, a lot of training on themselves, some therapy work, equine therapy with horses, art therapy, all kinds of stuff. I cook for them. I cook their lunch and their supper Monday to Friday. I seem to do a good job, I think. Some girls, of course, don't like some stuff. Some staff don't like some of my foods, but here we go. So here's a close-up of the reveal of the planets. There's kind of a moon-colored kind of planet. This one I thought was really cool with all the rays coming off. I love doing those rays. A little spirally, yellowy planet. Here we got pinkish kind of planet. And then more of an Earth kind of planet there. And then this is the big one. It's the medicine wheel with the 4 colors of the medicine wheel that the Indigenous use. This is me taking a tea break. And now I gotta get back at it, I guess. Mask on, safety first, no matter what you're doing. So in my original sketches, this moon here was not part of it, but I thought, you know what, the mountains that I'm gonna put across there, we're gonna need something behind it. So I went with that. And here's a reveal of that one. Nice little moon. Well, as I said, these doors were done a year ago. And since then, I've done a big wall mural at the same place I work. And my techniques have hopefully gotten better, as well as my paintings and everything that I'm doing. Keep improving. I learned a lot while doing this door, like the fact that all these different colors I'm putting on there, it's not going to be that easy to try and lift up or anything. So I'll just kind of try and do a little bit. It didn't work that great, but I learned a lot, used a lot of paint and a lot of clear coat. And it still comes out great, I think, so we will see. So I kept switching back and forth, letting one side dry, going back and doing the other one. This here, obviously, I'm doing some mountains using a foam brush. Didn't want straight up black mountains, I wanted a different kind of color, so I thought blue would be good. A little reflection of things, and I think it turned out pretty well. Then I came in with a darker color for the middle kind of mountains. I'll be honest with you. When they said do doors for the gym, I didn't realize what doors they were meant. These doors are actually from the main hallway into the gymnasium. I thought they were the back doors of the gymnasium that led to the emergency exit and outside. I didn't realize everybody was going to see these wall doors every day. Gotten great comments. The families like see them when they come for graduations. So I think I did all right. Here I come in with trees. This was a long process of doing trees all the way across. And like I said, these two walls took me about 6 hours, 3 hours a day, over a weekend, I think. Luckily, the weather had turned warm by then, but there was a heater inside, so it also helped with drying paint quickly. So, of course, one layer of trees was long, so why not do a second one? But I was not going to do a third layer. So then I came in with some other trees, using, of course, a napkin brush to do those out. So in doing these doors, I used up about every technique I had done up to this point. From these trees with the napkin brush, to those mountains and the mist in front of them, to the 16 shooting stars for the 16 weeks that the clients do. Stupidly, I didn't think about the attachment for the door to the frame because that covers up one or two of the shooting stars, but I know they're there. So now I've switched back to the other side, and I switched back to this side again. But I just kind of kept going back and forth. Since I had the brown out for the first part over here, I did the tree trunks over on the other side. And here I come in. This one I'm using a sponge, I believe, to do little bushes. I wasn't really sure what I was doing with this side. I knew I was doing a lake. I knew I was doing some trees, but I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do around the whole lake and everything. So I was kind of winging it, letting the process work and hoping for the best. Excuse me. I knew exactly what I wanted to do for the other side. The other side was going to be waterfalls and trees and my kind of paintings that I enjoyed painting at that time. This side I was like, eh. Plus you're trying to work on depth and perception and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't that easy. Like how big, I'm doing here, over here on this side, I'm going to do an evergreen tree, but how big does that evergreen tree have to be to make everything look real? Now I jump back to the medicine wheel planet where I did the animals that they use for different steps the clients have. So they have a bear, a bison, an eagle, and a wolf. Fortunately, when I cut the stencil, I didn't think of the right animals and I used an elk instead of a wolf, so I had to do some fixing up. So I did these three first. And we'll get the reveal. There we go. Those came out pretty good. But in order to do the wolf part, I had to let those ones dry. So I went back, and here I put in some black stuff so that when I do the waterfalls, and they're going to stand out a little bit more. While making this mural, I guess we can call it, I was nervous and scared and a little bit terrified. Didn't really know exactly what I was doing. I've never painted anything this big before. But I was also very excited. And the longer the journey went, the more I was excited about how fast everything was going and how well it seemed to go. Sure, I did not like this side of the lake and this door, but it went well, and I was able to get the stuff done that I thought, you know what, let's do this, and let's do this, and let's do that. So it was exciting to see what came out of just letting the process happen, letting it go, and seeing where it all went. like that shadow there that I put down for that tree. That seemed to work, I guess. And then I'm putting in some whites for the rocks. Just trying to get the water in there so it looks like actual water. And then I thought, hey, let's put in another tree over here. The only difference between this stuff and doing paintings on poster board is that I can't rip up this door and just start over again. I had to make it look right, no matter which way I went with it. So I made a little cherry blossom out of that tree, just for some extra color, because it was going to be a lot of green and browns, and it needed a little bit of something. Now, I've never asked the clients what they think of these doors. Never asked, what parts they like and what parts they don't like. But we're dealing with a lot of youth that are sometimes in gangs and sometimes do some breaking of the law and all kinds of things. And these doors have yet, let's please hope I don't jinx it, knock on wood, nobody's messed it up, so that's a plus. Back to the other side. So this is the side where I knew what I was doing. Sort of. So normally I would wet up the tree branches and then I would scrape the tree trunks, and I would scrape some of it out to try and make a little bit of texture and color difference on it. The only problem is that I've never done it on a metal door before. So as I'm scraping off, I'm realizing I'm scraping all the way down to the door, not just down to the green paint behind. Now this is going to sound weird, but I love painting branches. Basic rule for branches is if one branch goes off to the right, the next little part of it has to go off to the left. They keep switching sides. If you look at trees, that's the way they pretty much go. Sometimes they'll go on the same side, but usually it's because something broke off. As I was saying before, when I used different techniques, I used everything on this. I think right there I'm using a sock, probably my grandson's sock. I used napkin brushes for it. I used sponges for those greenery in the trees. I used all kinds of everything. Everything I could to make different textures so that it wasn't all just exactly the same. Now, another thing I like about these forest things is that you can make the design on the bottom go any which way you want. So I thought, I want waterfalls, I want it going all over, hopefully to give it some depth so that you have stuff that's going to be back and forward. And then I came in with some more greenery here, of course, and some rocks to try and give it something, some life, let's say. I saved this part for last pretty much because this is what I enjoyed, was doing the forest and the waterfalls and the trees and the little bushes and things, because I spent my life living in northwestern Ontario where it looks like this. Sure, we may not have this extravagant of waterfalls, but we do have all kinds of greenery and trees, and sometimes the trees are yellow like that, so maybe it's a changing of the season down early before the top gets it. And I had to try and make it match with the other side. So if you see along the line there on the right where it kind of matches together, it came out really good. So I kept going with different techniques, doing different little brushes. Here I come in putting little stems inside the bushes so that it looks like actually you can see a little bit of it. And then I threw just a little bit of spray just to try and get a little bit of different colors in, different little highlights that you may not get just by putting them in there. What I don't show here is that I do 16 birds on this side so that it's the 16 weeks, same as the shooting stars. So here we're going to final look at it. This is the one side, and we're going to go over to my favorite side, which is the forest. So let me know what you think about this. If you stayed around this long, like, subscribe, share. See you next time.